So let's dive into flat coins, or as I like to call them, the stablecoin killer. So what are flat coins? Well, flat coins are the thing that go bump in the night for stablecoin maxis. By definition, flat coins are cryptocurrencies that are pegged to the cost of living rather than fiat or commodities. Inflation pegged coins have been spoken on before by the likes of Brian Armstrong of Coinbase, Ray Dalio of Bridgewater, Balaji Srinivasan, who's a former GP at Andreessen Horowitz as well. Flat coins are often over collateralized with RWAs and pegged to inflation itself, making them a guaranteed hedge against it. Due to this peg and over collateralization, the value of the flat coin is never lost, typically being updated by the Trueflation Oracle, which captures the inflation rate in real time. If inflation itself is consistently on the rise, then it makes sense to tie your currency to it, right? Of course. And flat coins are the catalyst for creating a logical system of economic sustainability through a currency tied to the ever rising cost of living rather than the empty backing and rapid printing of our favorite paper bills with Mount Rushmore's residents residing on them. Now, the question is to stablecoin or not to stablecoin. We're aware that stablecoins are pegged to fiat currencies, which in theory would make it another fiat currency, right? A currency tied to a currency that loses value over time was subjected to the possibility of losing value over time. It's the exact same thing, but digitally recreated. Stablecoins are one regulation away from essentially being a CBDC, a government-backed promissory note essentially. These currencies are inflation sensitive rather than inflation resistant and are guaranteed to receive the short straw if ever there were any sort of economic crisis that affected the value of USD itself. Now let's dial it back some and tap into the birth of fiat, just stablecoin's predecessor. Now, fiat was born on a cold day, not really, in 1971 when President Nixon removed the convertibility of the US dollar to gold in an effort to stop a gold run once post-war countries had amassed a significant amount of USD. The US held the majority of gold reserves, and with the international circulation of USD on the rise, it became more appealing for foreign entities to redeem their gold in an effort to capitalize on it as the underlying asset of the currency they'd been trading freely. These fears arose as we saw a run in London's gold reserve, pushing the price per ounce to a whopping $40 on October 20th, 1960. Temporary fixes were put in place to prevent these types of runs on gold, but ultimately the depegging of convertibility became the surefire solution, and it ultimately created a much larger problem in the process: inflation. Once the gold backing was removed from our beloved currency, it became fiat, a cascading ride down the slippery slope to inflation land. Historical data worldwide shows that inflation has gone up past 8% in non-extreme cases, up to 19% in some countries, terrifying to even think of. Our current financial system is not prepared for this increase in the cost of living. Most currencies are prone to lose their buying power due to this. We see it every day with the increase of cost of goods, but our money not being capable of keeping up, effectively demonstrating a loss of purchasing power. How are flat coins any different from stable coins? Well, one is generally backed by tangible assets, the other is backed by our imagination. The end. Just kidding. Not just yet. As mentioned before, flat coins maintain their peg by being over collateralized by a multitude of assets. These assets can range from other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Cardano. Just kidding, who actually uses Cardano? Hello. Or RWAs. This term and concept was introduced by former Coinbase CTO Balaji Srinivasan and Sam Kazemian, the founder of the Frax stablecoin protocol, during a private conversation where they were discussing the idea of a stablecoin that would preserve the standard of living of its users. The biggest value we're seeing in this is that money is beginning to return to its original asset-backed state. While these currencies may not be redeemable for their backed asset, there remains the soundness in knowing there is visible proof of reserves for these flat coins. Let's dive into a few different ones and explore their different models. There is Nuon. Nuon is a flat coin built on Arbitrum with a current peg of $1.03. It uses a quadruple redundancy peg stability mechanism. Say that fast 6 times in a row. This means there are 4 different ways it is an inflation-resistant asset. Here are some of those mechanisms. The Nuon protocol algorithmically incentivizes users to mint or burn Nuon depending on the market conditions, managing supply, demand, and the price of Nuon. The over-collateralization. It protects the protocol and the peg. Each Nuon is always backed by collateral, with the protocol managing last resort collateral liquidations. An automatic liquidity pool feature protects the price of Nuon by preventing bad actors from draining the liquidity in the protocol system. Arbitrage opportunities: when the market price of Nuon diverges from the peg price, accelerates the repegging process. There's ISC, or International Stable Currency. It's sound money, hard money, money. You get where I'm going with this. It's a flat coin backed by a basket of RWAs and assets rather than just fiat currencies, and these reserves even being visible to the public eye or skeptical investor. Try going to figure out the reserves for USD and tell me why your stablecoin is better. I'll wait. Currently at $1.07 with a 10% APY and proof of reserves that protect it from Uncle Sam. Sounds like a winner to me. The ultimate conclusion of all this is throw stablecoins in the trash, the meat grinder, the doggy poop bag, the stomach pit of the Loch Ness Monster, whatever works for you. Flat coins are here to stay, and the premise upon which they stand is one that guarantees their longevity. As a hedge against inflation, they're a safer bet than the green goblins you have folded up in your wallet right now, and a better option against insolvency than stablecoins. Do yourself a favor and go check out some of the above mentioned flat coins and put yourself ahead of the curve.